Okay, Jakob hat sich geschrocken, weil die Dose geklärt. Yaakov was frightened by these thoughts. Hat wohl benommen, als sie kommen von a schlechte Macker. He knew well that these thoughts came from a bad place. Das will der Satan beweisen, as es is kulo chayav, lo chayav. I'm sure I'm not saying that properly, chayav. Azoyas Yaakov, soll sich machen gering, das was is verwehrt. So he knew well that the devil would say that this is what it is. Badness is part of, because just in the section before, talking about the wickedness that he sees around him, that this is the way things are, and he should make it easy for himself. Yaakov should to do what is forbidden. Yaakov had geheilt wie der Yetzer Tov entfällt. Was darfst du, Yaakov, versorgen andere? But Yaakov heard how the good spirit answered. Why do you worry about other people? Why do you think about what others do? Kodem verzog dein eigene neshama. First, think about your own soul. Aber die Gedanken haben nicht gelost zu ruhen. But the thoughts didn't stop. They didn't allow him to rest. They didn't stop. Die Leid haben gerät einsach. Aber die Augen haben erzählt etwas anderes. The people spoke in one way, but their eyes told a different story. Hinter alle Frömmkeiten hat sich behalten die Gierigkeit. That's the word I wanted. Underneath or behind all the religiosity, there was the greed, die Nichtverginnerei, the not they're not permitting others to enjoy the smallness. Das Volk hat gar nicht gehabt, abgelernt von die bittere Geseres. The people had not learned anything from the bitter decree of the massacres. Verkehrt is noch geworden etwas wie herabgeplatscht. On the contrary, they became even more beaten down and more and less honorable. Yaakov had gelernt mit den Nigun. Yaakov learned with a tune, with a melody. Aber hat sich jedes Mal gehabt, als der Nigun is a rebel in a Jodlenish von the Berg. But he noticed that each time the melody changed into the song, the melody of the mountain. Seinen it's gewein Minuten, denn Jakob hat gebankt noch der Stall. There were times when Yaakov longed to be in the barn. Dort von der Weitens hat gekonnt lieb haben jeden mit der ganzen Liebschaft. There In the distance, it was very easy to love the Jews with all his heart. Okay. Hat gehat vergessen de Pneus, the hinterweglich. You have to get all these wonderful words. The ulterior motives, the hinterweglich, the all the tricks and the ruses, the ampermission, the squabbles, the ligens, the lies, the kleine menschelech, the smallness, the small people, the leufendicker egelech, the wandering eyes, the geschliffener zinglech, the sharp, glib tongues. He forgot all that about the Jews when he was sitting in the barn. Zwar, die Pastucher haben ihm gepeinigt mit sehr Wildkeit and Unwürdigkeiten. It is true that the shepherds would trouble him with their wildness and their unworthiness. Aber was Potentia hat Jakob gekonnt haben zu jenem Pevel? But what kind of expectation could he have had from such a rabble, as opposed to what he might have expected from the Jews? Der Shidduch mit die Harovishever Almone hat schon gehalten beim Wären geschlossen. The Shidduch, the match with the widow, was about to be not determined, was about to be closed, was about to be finalized. Die Chasene hat gesollt sein, Freitag Erev Shabbos Nachamu. The wedding was to be the Friday Shabbos Nachamu. That's right after the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av. Die Almona hat, wie Yaakov, gehat verloren de Kinder. The widow had, like Yaakov, lost her children. Sie ist schon gewesen in the tiefe 30er. She was already deep into her 30s. Aber sie hat noch gekrogen die Zeit, but she was still menstruating. Sie hat sich noch vermosten zu gebären ihm, Jakobin, a kind. She was determined to bear him, Yaakov, a child. Jenel was Hanefin die Reichel, those who compliment in a sort of unsavory way, the rich people, haben schon bei seitens zugeworfen Jaakovin glattige Redlech und zuleckenischen. Those who were of the type that complimented, that's not really the correct word, provided too much compliments. Let's just leave it at that. The rich people had already started to give Yaakov sweet talk and compliments because he would now be a rich man. Aber Yaakov, hat noch als nicht gehabt, bei sich abgepasst, was zu tun. But Yaakov himself had already not really completely decided what to do. Was gelegen wach in der Nacht, nicht gekonnt vertreiben die Sorgen. He would lie awake at night and he couldn't push away the worries. Jena darf a socher, aber Yaakov, is nicht kein socher. The other, meaning the widow, she needs a salesperson, a merchant. And Yaakov, is not a merchant. Sie bräuch a man, was is ausgemischt mit Menschen. She needs a man who is able to deal with people, who is easy with people. Aber Yaakov is an abgesundelter, but Yaakov is a loner, one who stands by the side. Die Jungen in Dorf haben ihm gehabt in ganzen abgerissen von der Welt. The years that he spent in the village had completely ripped him off, removed him from the world. Hat ausgesehen gesund, aber als in ihm is zerbrochen. He appeared healthy, but everything in him was actually broken. Hat nayet genistelt in Hakiras Forum, in Unkabalas Forum. He spent his time only rummaging through books, serious books, Sforim, serious books, and the Kabbalah Sforim. He spent his time only, but he was only doing it in a rummaging way. He wasn't doing it in a serious, it wasn't serious study. Hat nayet genistelt in, I read that. Okay. Jedes Mal hat ihm angenommen, a Verlangen zu Anlaufen ergens, hat gewusst, wohin. He would be overtaken with a desire to run away somewhere, but he didn't know where. Seinen im Gehat befallen Focus, a zoine was libele. Now this is Aramaic. Seinen im Gehat befallen Focus, a zoine was libe lefomea lo legalia. If you, in the Aramaic, the aleph is the article. So to his heart, it was known, but it was not to be revealed. Das Herz anpleckt es nicht zum Moil. The heart did not reveal it to his mouth. Okay. In the Joren Gefangenschaft hat Jakob nicht gehabt versucht kein Fleisch. Und hat gehabt bekommen a Widerwillen zu essen Gottes Beschäftigung. So in the years of his captivity, Yaakov had never tasted any meat. And he had developed a repulsion to eating God's creatures. Shabbos muss Ayid essen fish und Fleisch. On Shabbos, a Jew has to eat fish or meat. Aber es ist Jacobin gekrochen von Hals, but it is stuck in his throat. Die Jiden seien sich vergangen mit den Beschäftigten wie die Goyim mit den Jiden. A pretty strong statement coming from Bashevis. The Jews were like using the creatures, the living creatures, just the way the Goyim treated the non-Jews treated the Jews in the time of the Chmielnicki massacre. Die Werte, Keppel, Helzel, Leberhol, Fissel, Puppekel, hat geweckt in ihm a Scheudel. The words, a head, a throat, a liver, a foot, the puppet, the gizzard, awoke made him feel, gave him a shudder. Jedes Mal, was hat reingenommen, a Stickel Fleisch in Mäul, hat sich ihm ausgewiesen, als esst die eigene Kinder. Every time that he took a little bit of meat in his mouth, he had the feeling that he was eating his own children. Es hat etliche Mal getroffen, als is noch der Shabbos-Dicker Seuda, Ahois in Dreußen und als ausgebrochen. It had happened already several times that after the Shabbos meal, he would go outside and spit everything up. Shall I read a little bit more? I can. Yes, okay. Is das Jakob is verblieben allein in Beis Midrash, hat nicht gelernt, nur geblättert. Now that he was sitting alone in the Beis Midrash, he wasn't really learning. He was just sort of rustling through the pages. It wasn't any consistent study. Efsher hat der Rambam an answer. Perhaps the Rambam had an answer. Efsher de Kuzari, the book of Yehuda Halevi with the king of the Kuzari. Efshel de Chova Halevavos, Efshel de Pardes. Hat Ibel gelernt etliche Shores, Ibel gemischt. He would read a few lines and just throw it around a bit. Wieder geöffnet ergens inmitten von zwei genommen mischende Blätter. And then he would again open someplace in the middle, and he would begin just to sort of turn the pages. It was nothing serious and nothing consistent or disciplined. Hat aufgelegt de Hand he put his hands on him, on his face. Zugeschlossen Levius, close the eyes, geblieben sitzen, eingehielt in der eigenen Finsternis. And he sat wrapped in his own darkness. Hat geglust sei zu Wande und sei zum Kever. He was lusting for Wanda and also for the grave. Wie nur es hat ihm abgelost auf eine Minute, das letzte nicht noch ihr Leib, when there was only a little lightening of his lust for her body, hat gewollt sterben. He wanted to die. Wären ausgelöschen, to be wiped out. Das Mäulseins hat azog getan, wie auf eigene Achayus. His mouth said it as though it was saying it of its own accord. Hotel in Himmel, nem mich zu. God, take me to you. Okay, enter the good woman. Elka, very, very good for you. The good woman is here.
Nekoma, that was a brilliant reading and beautiful translation. Thank you so much.
I'm not sure it was a brilliant translation, but thank you for saying it. Like I said, that's what makes, if not the thoughts, it's the writing here. Okay, but you're going to read about an amazing woman.
Okay, hat der Herr Tritt. He heard, what is Tritt?
Steps.
A frume Yidene, a pious Jewish woman. A Geboite hat ihm gebracht a Teppel Grits. A Gebäude, I don't know that one, had brought him.
A
Sorry?
gabaita. It's a gabaita.
It's
wife
it's
of
you know there's a
one of
gabbai
the-
in a synagogue, like the guy who takes care of things. This is the female.
Ah,
This
and
is the woman.
she had brought him a bowl of is grits like grits in English? It's some kind of grain.
Yeah, it's a grain.
Yeah.
She brought him some.
Yaakov
Grits.
hat sie
Ja.
angeguckt. Yaakov looked her over. Die doseke Nekeva mit dem lommen Fuß, mit dem Warzel auf der Nuss und mit dem Sprotz Haar auf dem Kinn ist ein Wort Tzedikes. The same kind person with
Same female.
same female, yeah. Mit lommen Fuß, what kind of feet?
Lame.
With lame feet. Der Wurzel auf der Nuss, with the, she had some kind of a blemish on her nose. Und mit dem Sprotzhaar auf dem Kinn, and with a spray of hair on her chin, is a Vora Tzedikis. So she was a really good person.
Holy.
Sorry?
Holy.
A holy person. Okay. Sie hat nicht gehabt, kein eine von die schlechte Midus, was Jakob, hat gefunden bei die andere. She had nothing in common with the bad characteristics which Yaakov had found in the other woman. Von die geschwollene Augen hat rausgeguckt die Chamimus. From her geschwollene Augen, is that swollen eyes?
Mm-hmm.
There glowed the Chamimus. What does that mean?
Famous modesty.
Modesty. Die Edelkeit. Der Willen zu tun Gutes. And so it was modesty. What is Edelkeit?
Refinement.
Nobility. Yeah, refinement. That's a beautiful word. Edelkeit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the desire to do good. Sie hat allein euch gehabt, ungewöhren dem Mann, die Kinder, das Haus, aber es ist nicht geblieben in ihr kein Bitterkeit. She herself had also lost her husband, her children, her home, but there had not remained in her any bitterness. Sie hat keinem nicht Makena given. She had no resentment against anyone. Nicht
jealousy.
Oh, jealousy. Thank you.
Makana, jealousy.
Yeah.
Makana. I'm sorry. Maybe I should not guess. Nicht.
No, it was very close.
Nicht noch getrogen, noch kein Verdruss, keinem nicht baret. So she had no jealousy and nicht noch getrogen, and she didn't hold any grudges against anyone.
Mm-hmm. No resentment.
No resentment, Vadrus. Mm-hmm. And she didn't reproach anyone. Sie hat umsist gewaschen Jakobs Wäsch, gekocht für ihn, Geknechts ihm bedient via Dienstemoid. She washed Jacob's, is it his laundry?
Mhm.
And she cooked cakes for him, and she served him like a house servant. Sie hat viele nicht gelost, soll ihr danken, and she would not let him thank her. Wie viel Mal hat sie geläubt, hat sie geteinet. Dadurch ist man doch beschaffen geworden. So no matter how many times sie hat geläubt, what is geläubt?
Praise.
Praise.
Whenever he tried to praise her, she would complain. This is what one should do.
No, this is why we were created.
This is why we were created. Okay, thank you. I won't torture.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
Moshe.
Die hat jetzt da weggestellt das Teppel auf den Tisch hinein, put the bowl onto the table, angegossen die Grits in a Schüssel and put the grits into a vessel. Sie hat gebracht Jakob ein Brot, she brought him bread, a messer, a knife, a salzmestel, a measure of salt, a fila, a shep, und a handtuch, even a bowl of water and a towel, of zu waschen sich zu Seu Yadechem, to wash himself for, I don't know what Seu Yadechem, lift up your hands, but Yaakov, what is the actual meaning of Seu Yadechem? Is that the blessing?
Isn't this related to the ritual washing of the hands before
Yeah,
eating
but,
that's required?
Yes, it's related to once you've done the pouring of the water from one hand to another, you lift up your hands and say the brocha.
Thank you. Okay. In der Zeit, was hat gegessen, in the time that he was eating, is he gestanden an Untertäniker. She would stand there submissively by der Tür at the door, gewahrt auf dem Gefäß, waiting for the dishes. Und wann hat sich das als zu ihr genommen? Where did all this come to her from? Hat Jakob sich gefragt. How come she's this way? Basically, what Jakob sich gefragt, Jakob asked himself. Dazu darf man doch sein, a chochem, a bardat. For that you have to be a wise man, someone who, a man of knowledge. Sie ist gewähnt für Jakoben wie ein Zeichen, als es einen voran Hecher und Schomes bessere Welten. She was for Jacob like a sign, as there exist higher souls and better worlds. A viele, wenn sie wollt gewähnt, einer auf der Welt, if she was even alone in the world, the only person in the world, wat sie gekonnt dienen für ein Edes, als sie ist dort die Mieter von Chesed, she would be able to be a witness that there is the trait, the measure of mercy. Es ist Jakob hat eingefallen, soll mit ihr Chasna haben. Jacob had the idea that perhaps he should get married to her. Hat sie gefragt, sie wollte nicht getan kein Schidach, wenn's macht sich ihr. And he had asked her if she wouldn't have married if she had the opportunity. Sie hat ihm angeguckt mit einem trüben Blick. She looked at him with a very sad look und geantwortet and answered, Merchishem auf jeden Feld, God willing, in the world to come, mit mein Baruch Tobit, and I'll be reunited with my husband, Baruch Tobit. Wenn Jakob ist eingeschlafen, ist gekommen zu ihm Wander. At night when Jacob fell asleep, Wanda came to him. Sie hat sich gewissen zu ihm leibig, lebendig. She appeared to him leibig as kind of bodily, but
Physically.
solidly bodily and alive. Herumgeringelt mit Licht, surrounded by light, was von ihm verweint, the face full of tears, der Bauch angespitzt, the stomach blown out, peaked out. Die Augen haben gelacht von hinter die Tränen. The eyes laughed behind the tears. Who hast du mich übergelost? Where have you abandoned me, Jacob? What Cigaretti said. Was wird sein mit deinem Kind? What is going to happen to your child? So that auswachsen zwischen Goyim, it will grow up between Gentiles. So hat geschmeckt von ihr mit Fell, mit hay. She had the smell of field and hay. Jacob hat getonert zitter. Jacob trembled. Zich übergeweckt. He really woke up. Aber Wandas Gestalt is nicht bald verschwunden. But her body did not disappear. So noch geheuert weil auf der Grenze zwischen Cholm und Var. It still floated between dream and truth. Nachdem wie das Sehnisch ist ausgeruhen, wenn das hallucination disappeared, ist geblieben a blois in der Finster. There was left a vacancy in the dark, wie die Schein von einem erst verroschenem Lamp. Like the Jacob was geworden full mit Zitternisch. Jacob was full of trembling, trembled. Wanda's call had noch gehilft in the Ohren. Wanda's voice was still echoing in his ears. Hat wie verspürt die Warmkeit von ihr Ruf. It was as if he felt the warmth of her body. Das ist nicht gewesen nach Holm. It wasn't a dream, nor a Sehung, but Jacob had gewahrt. Jacob waited, geleucht, listened, eavesdropped. Great sie soll sich wieder anplecken to him, ready that she should again reveal herself to him. Are you hearing me okay now?
Yes, big improvement.
Okay, all right. Noch a while is eingeschlafen. After a bit he fell asleep again. Und Wanda hat sich zu ihm bewiesen von Snai. And Wanda showed herself once again to him. Hat gemerkt, als sie hat getrogen a Koptichel, he saw that he noticed that she was wearing some headwear mit Fransen, with fringes, und a shirts and an apron mit Kratkelach, with a checkered apron. Sie hat sich genentert zu ihm. She approached him, herumgenommen ihm beim Hals, took him around by his neck, ihm gekuscht, kissed him. Hat sich gemusst zu ihr zubeugen. He had to bend over to her, weil der uveretiker Bauch hat gemacht zwischen sie a Zwischenshade, because the pregnant belly made a partition between them. Hat gefühlt dem Tam von ihrer Lippen. He felt the taste of her lips, the salts von ihrer Tränen, and the salt of her tears. Sie hat getan zu ihm. She complained to him. Sie ist dein Kind. It's your child, dein Blut und Fleisch, your blood and flesh. Jacob is wieder aufgekommen. Jacob woke up again. Das Mal hat mehr nicht zugetan kein Oig bis Sonnensprotz. This time he did not close an eye till sunrise. Hat gewusst, als hat gesehen, wann dann auf der war. He knew that he had seen, that he had truly seen Wanda in the flesh. Sie hat getragen sein Kind in ihr Schoß. She was carrying his child in her bosom, in her uh,
Lap.
in her lap, but it's not the lap, it's
Mhm.
in her womb. Sorry.
Womb, yeah.
Bis Tag hat Jakob gemurmelt, die Kapitel Tilim, was hat gedenkt von euch wenig. Until daytime, Jakob murmured chapters of Tilim, of the Psalms, that he remembered by heart. Wie noch so genommen Reutlen der Mizrach, when as soon as the east started to turn red, is aufgestanden, he stood up, gewaschen Negelwasser, and he did the ritual washing of his hands, Negelwasser. Als is geworden klar, everything became clear to him. Tor nicht überlassen zwischen die Götzendiener, nicht wandern, nicht sein Kind. He dares not leave between, he dare not abandon neither Vanda nor his child among the idol worshippers. Hat gehad a bissel geld, he had a bit of money, het hat gewollt a huis dort, wo sie ist einmal gestanden, from Joseph Povers Moyer. Someone wanted a house there where once upon a time stood the building of Abraham from Josephus. Jacob is dem Schwers einziger Joresh. He, Jacob, is his father-in-law's only inheritor. Inheritor. But anyway, hat gehad bekommen vor dem Platz und vor dem Fundament, was ist noch dort geblieben, 50 Guldoinim. He had received for the place and the foundation that was still remaining there, he received 50 gulden. Hat zunächst gepackt die paar Sachen in a Sack. He packed together his few belongings in a bag. Is weg in Beis Midrash. He went to the house of study and hat dort getroffen. There he met Rab Lippen, was is allemal gewähnt und die erste 10 in Mokum Kadosh. Rab Lipa, who was always one of the first 10 in this holy place. Is schön gesessen by a Gomorrah und gelernt. He was already sitting at the Gomorrah and studying. There's ein Jakob mit a Sack, seeing Jakob with a sack, hat breit geöffnet die Augen. He broadly opened his eyes. Was ist das? What's that? Ach, vor kein Lublin. I'm going to Lublin. I'm traveling to Lublin. Stage. What does that mean? Wir haben doch abgestellt als man chasna. We've already set up a time for your wedding. Kondem shidach nicht tun. I can't do this marriage. What Yaakov gesagt, Yaakov said, was wird sein mit die Bochurim? What will happen with the young lads? You must kriegen einander melamed. You must find another teacher. Was ist das geschehen mit einmal? What has happened so suddenly? Jakob hat geschwiegen. Jakob was silent. Nicht hat gewollt socken liegen. He didn't want to tell a lie. Nicht hat gekonnt erzählen den Emes. Nor could he tell the truth. Noch a while hat sich angerufen. After a while, he spoke up. Will zurückgeben die Hotzas, was Kahal hat gemacht mit auszulesen. I want to return the expenses of the congregation that they spent, the expenses they had to redeem me. Hat aufgebunden das Torbala und abgezählt, da blieben 20. He opened the bag and counted out for Rabbi Lipa, and we're at the bottom of the sentence here. 20, it must be 20. We were at the bottom of the page. Or, good. Yeah, 20 Gulden, and he counted out 20 Gulden. Rabbi Lipa hat sich angenommen bei der Bord. Rabbi Lipa, Reb Lipa, took hold of his beard and held on to it. Die Schwarzaugen seinen geworden, voll mit schweigendiger Steunung. His black eyes became filled with quiet amazement at what I murmured when he murmured. We're at the bottom of the page there.
Okay. Karl soll zurückkriegen Geld. Das ist Mashiach's Zeiten. That the community should be repaid the money. These are the times of the Mashiach. Es wird kommen zu Nutz. The money you'll be able to use the money. Was soll ich schreiben der Almona? And what shall I write to the widow? Schreibt ihr, als is nicht kein Zivug. Write to her that the match, there is no match. Kommt schon nicht zurück? Are you not going to come back? Ich weiß gar nicht. I don't know. Geist oprichten Goles? Are you going to lead a life of wandering? Yaakov hat sich gestellt davenen, and Yaakov stood up to daven. Hat afile nicht gewart auf kein minion. He didn't even wait for a minion. Hat noch Nächten gehört, als ganz früh wird sein Afur kein Lublin. He had already heard that very early in the morning there would be a coach to Lublin. Hat opgedavend in der Kirche und sich gelost gehen zu Leibisch dem Spilleter. He finished davening very quickly, and then he left to go to Leibush, the shipping agent. Yaakov hat in Gedank sich gemacht Simon. Yaakov in his made a pledge in his mind. Ob me wird ihm Kegen gehen mit volle Gefäßen und ob es wird sein für ihn ein Ort auf dem der Fuhr, ist das ein Zeichen, als mir ist Merutze in Himmel mit dem, was tut. So if they would meet him with full goods, and if they're with full goods or utensils, and if there would be a place for him on the in the coach or on the wagon, this would be a sign that heaven is in agreement with what he is about to do. Is a Reus von Beschmedres und Kalmen der Wasserträger ist ihm entgegengekommen mit 2 volle Kannen. He went out of the study house, and Kalman, the water carrier, came towards him with 2 full containers. Jakob is weg zu Lebusch dem Spieleter, und jener hat so getan. Jakob went to Lebusch, the shipping agent, and he said to him, ein Passagier, and Jakob, Lebusch said to him, ein Passagier wird sich noch rein quetschen. One passenger, we can still squeeze in 1 passenger. Der Frühmorgen is gewinn a warmer, spät in 7. The early morning was warm, late in the month of Sivan. A Shalva is gelegen über den Städtel. There was a tranquility lay over the village. Loddens haben sich aufgespart und verschlafene Weiber, and the shutters were opened, and sleepy women verschlafene Weiber haben rausgesteckt die bekoppete Kip, and sleepy women stuck out their covered heads. Jeden seinen gegangen davenen mit Talis and Tefillin. People went to pray, to daven, with their Talis and Tefillin. Pastorer haben herausgeführt die Behemoths auf den Gemäusers. So the Pastorer, the shepherds, were driving the cows out to the marshes. Die Sonne ist schön gestanden in Gingoldener in Mizrach. The sun was already shining goldily in the east. Aber Toi ist noch gefallen über die Bäumelach und Kusten, was seinen ausgewachsen noch ein Churben. But the sun was shining goldily in the east, but the dew was still falling over the trees and the shrubs, which had grown out after the destruction. Vögel haben geschwittert und geklieben die kernlich Haber, was seinen herausgefallen von der Torbe über der Morde von dem Pferd. Little birds were twittering, and they were collecting the grains that had fallen from the bag over the jaw of the horse, of the horses. Es ist schwer gewesen zu glauben, als da auf der eigenen Erde hat man zertreibert kleine Kinder. It was difficult to believe that here on this very earth they had cut small children to pieces, oder sie begraben Lebendigkeit, or buried them alive. Die Erde hat noch als getan das eigene, was in der Zeit von Kain. The earth did the same thing that it had done in the times of Cain. Eingesappt unschuldig Blut. It soaked up innocent blood. Verborgen alle Mördereien, and it concealed all of the cruelties of the murder, of the massacres. Die Passagieren seien gewesen rov Weiber. The passengers were mostly women, was fuhren Einkäufen Scheure für die Krommen. The women who were going to buy goods for the shops. Labish hat so getan zu Jakob, and Labish said to Jakob, wird sitzen neben mir auf dem Bock. You'll sit next to me on the coachman's seat. Die Fuhr hat gesollt herausfahren gleich. The wagon was about to leave. Aber jedes Mal ist aufgekommen ein neuer Abhalt. But each time a new delay came about. A jidene hat gehad etwas vergessen. One woman had forgotten something. A Weibel is zugelaufen, unsäugen a Pitzels. Another woman ran to nurse a little baby. Emmet hat gebracht a Pickel, was man soll übergeben in a Harberik in Lublin. Somebody else brought a parcel to be delivered to an inn in Lublin. Die zwei Krämerlich, was seine gesessen zwischen die Weiber, haben sich wäulerisch gewitzelt, gegeben allerlei Kommer eiseldicke unzuhörnischen, und die Weiber haben gechichert. The two Krämerlich, the two shopkeepers who were sitting among the women they joked mischievously, and they gave all sorts of suggestive comments, and the women giggled. Jakob hat gehört, wie es säudet sich wegen ihm, and Jakob heard how they were whispering about him. Man hat a viele der Mund dem Nomen von der Almona, was mit ihr hat gesollt Chuppet stellen. They even mentioned the name of the widow with whom he was supposed to be married. Hat sich abgegeben a cheshbon, als nicht willendig wird ihr verschaffen Verdruss und Besäunis. He had decided that he had knowingly caused her distress and shame. Oy vey, wumeriert sich zu, wird man gestreuchelt in Averis. Oy vey, wherever one moves, one is beset with transgressions. Hat Jakob zu sich geredt, he said to himself. Hat gehabt durchgeguckt alle Musses vor ihm, was hat gefunden in Josipova Besmedrash. He had looked through all the books concerning Musar behavior.
Ethics, isn't it, Musar?
Sorry?
Ethics, ethical books of ethics.
Yeah.
Ethics, the books.
Religious books concerning ethics, which he had found in the study hall of Josipov. Sie haben alle gegeben Eitzes, wie soll nicht hereinzufallen in der Netz von Yetzer Hara. They all gave advice about how not to fall into the net of the evil inclination. Aber der Satan hat jeden einem übergelegt. But Satan outsmarted each one of them, had outsmarted each one of them. Hat in alles gehabt achelig. Satan had a part in everything, in jeden mischer, in every deal, in jeden shidduch, in each match, in jeden gebäude, in each construction. Wo man rührt sich nicht zu, tut man emetsen weh. Wherever one moved, one harmed somebody. One caused pain to somebody. Ob me führt sich a vieler ordentlich und me beglickt, ruft man der Mitarois Kinder bei die Geizige. Even if one behaved in an honorable way and one was successful, ruft man der mit. This evoked jealousy by greedy people, with greedy people. Jakob, hat noch allein nicht gewusst klar, was greizig zu tun. Jakob himself didn't know exactly what he was going to do. Hat getracht von Fragen an Eize bei einem von die Gedolim in Lublin. He thought about asking advice from one of the great ones, one of the learned people in Lublin. Und was jener wird raten, soll Jakob tun. And what that person would advise him, he, Jakob, would do it. Aber dabei hat gewusst, als is auf den Weg zu wandern, but at the same time, he knew that he was on his way to wander. Is wie jene Leid von Erev Rav, was haben sich gewollt umkehren kein Mitzrayim, zurück zum Kessel Fleisch, zurück zu Knechtschaft. He was like those the rebel who wanted to return to Egypt, to go back to the flesh pots, back to slavery. Nu, aber kon losen als seins a Kind soll auswachsen a goy, but could he allow that his child should grow up a Gentile? Beis hat getan die dosike Avera mit der Goya, hat gar vergessen oder sich gemacht vergessendig, als sie kon vergehen in Trogen. At the time that he had committed this sin with the Gentile woman, he had completely forgotten, or perhaps he had made himself forget that she could sie kon vergehen in Trogen, that she could die during the pregnancy. Het kloimerst geton azoi as die Säumen seine sollen a reusin dreusen, maße oinen. He had allegedly done, acted so that his seed should fall outside Maase Oinen, that
we get it. We understand. we get it.
I think just one thing to
interrupt us.
So vergehen in Trogen means to become pregnant.
Yeah, I think that's right. That she could be. Imagine he didn't figure that one out, but he thought he was protecting the situation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks to all.
Yeah, I have a question for Yaakov before he goes.